Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Mountain Harmony Gardening. I'm Kristen, and today is part one of our four-part series that we do every fall, where I talk about my successes and my failures and gardening tips from this season. Every fall, I do this four-part series for you so we can talk about what worked in my garden, what didn't work, and some tips for you guys to use next year. Because normally I keep a journal of everything that I do in my garden, but since I have my YouTube channel, this is my vlog, I guess, right? Yeah, this is my vlog of what I am doing in my garden every year, and I take you along for what works, what doesn't work, something I want to try different, and that's what we're going to be doing in this series. And I highly recommend that you keep a journal of your own. You could try videoing yourself and seeing, showing what works, what doesn't, or write it down in a book like I do. I still keep my hard copy. You know, you could do it on the computer too, get up with the modern times and do it that way, but I personally it's relaxing for me to write. So let's get this started. Today we are going to talk about behind the house where the raised garden bed is and where we have our raspberries and our lilac in the corner. And I'm actually going to be talking a little bit about behind the house too, and we can walk over here just to show you. Now back here is mostly storage, and I do have this rack that I use, and I put the tomato cages over here. We got some firewood, and then also I put these on the garden beds to keep Lola and other cats from digging in it. During the winter time I don't mind so much, but during the springtime when I'm trying to get the garden beds ready, I do use these. We have talked about putting in a skinny shed right here for me, because we don't really have a place to put the wheelbarrow, we don't have a place to put the lawnmower, and some of this stuff over here that you see, we just don't have a place for it. So what we would like to do is we would like to go ahead and build a skinny shed that'll go back here, because eventually we're going to have stairs over by the back door that come down. Once we're done residing this side of the house, you've seen the other side, well, we have to do this side too. But once we put in the stairs and kind of clean up this, we're going to go ahead and probably put in a shed. And I cleaned up the lilac bush this year, and it looks so much better. And Donnie's trying to back up through the lilac bush.
Slap. Sorry about that.
So, but I like that I keep it trimmed up, and I try to, in the spring, I'll trim off some of this, but I don't want to do it during the fall because this is the wrong time of the year to trim these up. But I like having this back there. It gives us a little bit of privacy, a little bit of shade, plus it was Granny's lilac bush. So some of the successes this year. The trellis, since we updated it and we put in the wire and we made it taller, and now I am much easier to keep all of this here, this is a little bit tall. Now I just put it behind, or I could trim it off. Ooh, I hope you could not hear that. There are some big dump trucks going by, and they're a little bit loud. Sorry about that. Oh, cattle truck. It's a big cattle truck. So this has worked out great. I love it. We got a lot of raspberries off of here, and I wouldn't change this. I think this is the system that we are going to do for the raspberries from now on. Whether we put in more raspberries here or we move to a different location, this is what we're going to be doing because it works. I do like the raised bed, but I had some issues this year. Let me see if I can show you the holes on this side. Yes, if you look down here, you'll notice that I've got sticks sticking out of these holes right here, because I was trying to keep those wasps out, and they just made a huge mess out of here. But we had the bricks all piled up here, and we had had them there for years, and they were fine. But for some reason this year, they were a problem, and the wasps started moving in. But I got rid of them. They weren't the type that stung, so it was okay, and I just kept filling their little holes in. But eventually, a raised bed like this that's made out of wood will deteriorate, and we will have to replace it. Hopefully not anytime soon, provided the wasps don't destroy the bed anymore. One thing that did not work this year, and it's still buried in here, is our drip irrigation. Because our water has so much sediment in it, it does not work at all. It's too small of a line, and it just gets plugged so easy. So what I'm going to be doing next year is I'm going to be putting soaker hoses in my garden beds to see if that is a good solution, because I would rather water closer to the roots of the plants instead of having the system like spraying everywhere like I do with the sprinkler system that I have now, where it's just the big one, the spinny that you've seen in some of my videos. I would rather have it down low, not watering as much of the leaves, and hopefully it gets to the roots where the plants really need it. So that's a change that we're definitely making next year over here. Other than that, we're not changing a whole lot back here. Oh, other than what we're planting in here next year. That's the big change too. We are going to be doing the Three Sisters method back here. I know that it's harder to grow corn in our area, but in just a little bit further down in our valley that we live in, people can grow corn, and I really want to try it. Donnie's granny used to grow corn all the time, and she is in a different zone, a colder zone than I am, so I think we can do it. So this is all going to be planted out with corn, squash, and beans. So we're going to put the corn and we're going to put the squash low so they grow through here, and then we're going to let the beans grow up the corn just like in the Three Sisters method. So I'm really excited to do that. We're going to take all of what's in here and we're going to be moving it into the other beds, and in the other episodes I will be talking about that. Now the grow bags, you can see that we still have some bok choy growing in here because they seem to really like the cold. Now with the grow bags, I started them way too late this year. It was way behind, and I didn't really get as much of a harvest out of them as I would have liked to. Like the sweet potatoes, they're pretty much just going to be slips this next year. So now I know that yes, this method works, but I have to start it sooner. And that was my largest mistake that I made in this area back here, was I did not start the grow bags soon enough. But when it comes to cleaning them up at the end of the year and just dumping them out in the wheelbarrow or dumping them out in the garden beds and we can save the soil, worked fantastic. And the roots got all the way down to the bottom of these grow bags, that when we dumped them out and we turned them out, they all had roots all the way down to the bottom, where some of my regular pots don't. So those are definitely a success, other than it was my fault I didn't plant them soon enough. The goji berry, this is its permanent home. It's never moving. This is where it's staying. It loves it. And you can see that it still looks like, oh, you didn't harvest your goji berry. But if you watch the previous videos, you know that I did, and I got quite a few goji berries off of here. These were all the ones that had started to kind of wrinkle a little bit, and I just decided to leave them on the plant. But this goji berry really took off in this spot. It's like the perfect location for it. So it's gonna be staying. So those are pretty much kind of like the successes and the failures and some of the tips that I have for you for this section of the garden. So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll be going over another section of the garden. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Happy gardening, everyone.